Hello, hi everybody. If you're new here, my name is Bree. I think we're all new here because I haven't posted or made a video in a long time, so that's fun. But my name is Bree. Fun fact, live in Texas, so yeah, that's interesting. But I am going to go over my April TBR. So I've just been in like a bad funk lately that I haven't read. The only things I've read this year was I'm Glad My Mom Died, Project Hail Mary, and The Deep End. I think I also read Offer from a Gentleman, but that's pretty much it. There's only 4 books. So I'm really trying to give myself structure this next month by giving myself like a real TBR. I think that's also kind of how I felt out of the rhythm, was like not having a TBR. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna start with the first book on my list, and this is actually going to be a book that is going to be a movie adaptation. It technically already is, but that is going to be Dune Messiah. I read the first Dune 2 years ago, and I loved it so much. I listened to it on audiobook, like I got it from Libby, and I don't know if this is how all the versions are, but the version I had felt very much like a graphic audio, so it was really easy for me to get into, and I loved it so much. So before the movie comes out in December, I want to read Dune Messiah. So, if you don't know, Dune is a sci-fi novel, and it follows. This is kind of interesting. It follows our character Paul Atreides, and the first Dune is mainly about like him and his family and his house going to another planet, and trying to cultivate the power there, and it turns into like a whole political religious thing. And so with all of that and everything that happens there, this is the continuation of that. This is set about 12 years after the end of the first Dune. So I definitely, like, if you want to get into it, you have to kind of read them in order. So it would be Dune Messiah, and then after this it's Children of Dune, and that's the original trilogy, or like the original works of it. But yeah, so for sure I'm reading this one right now. I'm like, well, I'm getting into it. This is like the first one on my list, so I'm really excited. I enjoyed the first one, so I'm kind of excited to see what the second one is. I know it kind of flips everything on its head. The first book really builds Paul up to be this hero, and from what I'm seeing, this book sounds like it is going to show how like our heroes can sometimes be evil. Maybe not have the intentions, but it can kind of just get there. So I thought that was interesting. The second book on my TBR, it's a new release. It came out this year, and it is Just Friends by Haley Pham. I picked this one out mainly because it's a romance, and you can't blame me, but mainly because it's a romance, and it is Haley Pham is actually she has her own YouTube channel. Her husband has his own like candy company, and he has his own YouTube channel too. And I've been watching Haley for about 5 years now, I would say. Maybe 5, maybe longer. But I've been watching her, and she does book videos, and she does a lot of different videos. But this is her debut novel, and I just wanted to read it for that reason. It follows Blair and Declan, and they're two childhood best friends who went through like a really bad breakup, and it's set years later, and it's them, their like first time they've reunited since their breakup, and it gives a lot of flashbacks and stuff. That's what I've seen, as a lot of flashbacks, and it's also a second chance romance, if I'm correct. Yeah, it's a second chance romance. So it's kind of interesting. I just kind of wanted to build my own opinion on it, so that's why I have it on my TBR, and I think it was good because as April comes, it's kind of like the start of spring, and then to me, here in Texas, it just gets hot in May, so summer is already like May, even though summer is technically June. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to have something that was like a summer read. And I'm excited for this one. The next one on my TBR is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This one is interesting. From what I've seen, it follows the main character, and she's a widow, and she's also trying to figure out the mystery of why her son went missing years ago. And what's helping her solve this mystery is her relationship, or not relationship, but her friendship with this octopus at the aquarium that she works at. And while all of this is going on, she also I believe she also befriends somebody else, and they're trying to find their father. Kind of gives mystery vibes, but the big thing to me that stood out is that this woman has a like relationship with the octopus, and she's also grieving at the same time. So I think that's just like an interesting like dynamic, and it kind of feeds into like our relationships and how we interact with like people and like other things and stuff like that. So I'm actually really intrigued for this one. The other reason it's on my TBR for this month is because the movie for this comes out I think like May 1st on Netflix. So I was like, well, I kind of have to read it so I can know about the movie when it comes out. So that's why this one's on my TBR. And then next I have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This one is supposed to follow, I believe they're two like rival journalists. And they're trying to get the story of this like heiress. And so from what I saw, it's like a little bit of historical fiction, a little bit of mystery, and then like a little bit of romance. But the one thing that stood out to me is that because they're both trying to fight for this biography of this heiress, it kind of gives Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo vibe. Like, the way it seems is like as you get further into the story and discovering more about like the heiress, you find out like different things that might be shocking or mysterious. So I'm kind of intrigued. But yeah, this one I've had for since it like came out as well, and I just like haven't had it on my shelf, so I wanted to get rid of it. Like I just want it. Like honestly, all the ones that are here are mine except for this one. This one was given to me by a friend, so that's also why it's on my TBRs, because I want to give it back to them. But this one for sure I've had for since it came out, which is about a year or 2 years ago. I just need to get it off my shelf. It's like there's too many books on here. So that's the other thing. Another book I want to read, I actually don't have it physically, and I think I'm just gonna buy it for my Kindle, or my iPad, is Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood. And honestly, the main reason for it is that I read Deep End, and I just love her writing, and every single time I read one of her books, I remember why I love her writing. But Two Can Play is a novella, and it follows two rival or enemies to lover. It's an enemies to lovers trope, but it follows two rival video game designers, and oh my god, oh my gosh, it follows two rival video game like developers, and they have to go to this retreat, and at the retreat they end up like working, or they end up working on a project together, and obviously they're enemies to lovers, so they end up like falling in love. So I'm excited, and it's a novella, so I picked it because it's so short that I feel like I could get through it pretty quickly if I wanted to make sure that I like read something in the month. That's something I could pick up and be like, I read this book and it was short and sweet, so it still counts. So that's why that one's on my TBR. Also just love Ali Hazelwood. She's just so good. So yeah. The other book that's on my TBR is, oh my gosh, what is the name of it? I know it's Mary Jane. I just can't remember the author's name. Oh, by Jessica Baloo, I believe is her name. But it's Mary Jane by Jessica Baloo, and Mary Jane is the main character, and she actually becomes, it's set in the 1970s, and she becomes a nanny for the summer for this family. And the family, you would say, is a little bit more, I guess, eccentric than hers. Mary Jane is like very sheltered, very like um, and so becoming a nanny for this family, she's exposed to a lot of different things that she's never been exposed to before, because in this time the family is also housing this like famous rock and roll singer performer and his wife. And so she kind of sees a different world than what she's normally used to. So I thought that was interesting. It's considered a coming of age story, and so I think that's what's also what intrigued me about it, is that because it's the 70s, it has like rock and roll performers or like musicians and stuff. It kind of gave like Daisy Jones and the Six, and well, Daisy Jones and the Six and like Almost Famous. If you've ever seen the movie Almost Famous, that's pretty much what it is. It's a boy, he's sheltered, not really exposed to much, and then he joins this band on tour and gets like exposed to all these different things. And so it kind of gave that same vibe, but more in the sense of like she's a nanny. So I thought that was interesting, and I really want that one. I want to read that one. I saw a couple different people years ago talk about that book, and it's just been something that has always been like in the back of my mind. I've never bought it, and that's also why I was like, well, I can always buy it now. And I am trying to get stuff off my TBR, but at the same time, I want to make sure I'm reading stuff that I actually like. So, that's why that one's on my TBR for this month. And then let's see. I have this book, but I don't know where it is right now. I forgot to grab it. Yeah. Lastly, I want to read Kit McBride Gets a Wife. I always keep calling it Needs a Wife. It's Gets a Wife, by Amy Berry. And so this one, it is actually a historical fiction romance, rom-com kind of. But essentially, Kit's sister ends up putting out an ad for a bride for all of her brothers. And so our main character, I forgot what her name is, but our main character, she is an Irish immigrant, and in order to survive, because she ends up going to Montana, and in order to survive, she pretends to be the bride from the ad. And so obviously the two are kind of forced together and end up forming this romance. I thought it was interesting because I didn't realize at first when I bought it that it was like historical fiction. I thought that was just like, oh, she put an ad in Craigslist. Well, from what I was seeing, it's actually something, it's set like in the past, like a long time ago. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I think that'll make it funnier. Um, yeah, I think that'll make it funnier when reading it. And then just kind of like the forced proximity is something I love in romances. And it's also kind of like like, I want to see how that identity part comes into play. Like, well, she's obviously not that bride, so how is that gonna plan out, you know? But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't have a lot of books on my TBR this month, just because I don't want to overwhelm myself, but I wanted to add a little bit of everything. That way I had like at least one fiction, I had something that was like not romance, and then everything that was romance. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. If you have any of these on your TBR, or if you've read any of them, I want to see what you think or what you pick. I'm kind of excited. I honestly kind of hope I get through these, because I always make a TBR and I never get through any of them. And I feel like this list is actually kind of achievable. I just have to put my mind to it, you know? Have you ever felt that way? Where you just need to, like, you're like, I just need to lock in. And lately I feel like I'm in a lock in mood. So, but that's pretty much it. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.